We've got another Piers Morgan panel to look at, this time featuring Cenk Uygur, who, for all my disagreements with, does do a good job shutting down Piers for his bias, shutting down the right for their bias. So I've lined up a few clips for us to watch, and we'll jump in with the needed context.
He's set to terminate all the rules, regulations, and articles of the Constitution when he didn't win in 2020.
But he's not going to do that, and you know he's not going to do that. You know that's not what he meant. This is the problem, though.
So, guys,
when you go after Trump.
So this is the problem, Piers. Piers, this is the problem. Whenever we're talking about criticizing Kamala Harris, you guys let me and everybody else go for 20 minutes. And then whenever I say the first thing about Trump, everybody jumps in to cut it off. That's how this thing is so biased. So let me tell you, you want to talk about mental impairment? Come on, guys, it should have been over when he said, let's put disinfectant inside our bodies. He's a very, very dumb man.
He didn't say that.
He thinks that clean coal is you take out coal and you scrub it clean. He thinks the F-35 stealth fighter is invisible to the naked eye like Wonder Woman. He took a dementia test and thought it was an IQ test. The other day, he said that the audience in the debate went crazy for him. There was no audience in the debate. The man has significant mental problems.
Yeah, and Trump also said the American Revolution in 1776 was won by controlling the airports. I'll let that resonate with you as it will. The way that the narrative of Biden's mental decline was manufactured by the right is by how brazenly they ignore it and it doesn't get clicks and views in the media now that it's Trump, or how that they literally just pretend that it's no big deal. He can say whatever outrageous thing, not based in reality, the least thing that he wants, and it's just, oh, he didn't mean it, oh, he won't do it, oh, he's just joking. Yet the right will hyper focus on anything someone from the left says, even when they clearly misspeak or being taken out of context, and try to use that to create a narrative. The fact of the matter is, Trump did say to inject disinfectant. He did say he would suspend the Constitution. He did say he'd be a dictator on day one. He did try to thwart our democracy before, and these aren't just things that should be normalized and laughed off as nothing.
I mean, Cenk, that would be my point, which is if Trump was going to do all the things you claim he's going to do, he'd have done them.
Yeah, but he did. You guys pervert reality in a way that is amazing. You pretend that he.
Can you stop saying you guys? Dinesh has just said that.
You just did it, Piers. How do I not include you when you just did it?
I literally said.
Can I answer the question?
You said that Trump wants to undo every part of the Constitution. I'm telling you that is completely insane for you to say that. Utterly nonsense.
You're insane.
He's never going to do it. He's not going to do it. You know it. I know it.
Okay, guys, let me just address the audience. Okay, these guys are trying to brainwash you into forgetting the things that Donald Trump actually did. He actually did January 6th. They actually did rush the Capitol. They did get inside the Capitol. People did die. He did say, let's terminate the Constitution when he didn't win. He did have a 3-hour meeting about installing martial law and rolling out the tanks.
And this was also spot on. This kind of revisionist history the right tries to utilize to pretend that the Democrats are just saying things or using talking points that aren't real, or that everything was fine under Trump is kind of nonsensical. Trump did enlist fake electors in 7 states. He did send those fake electors to the Capitol to deliver fake, fraudulent ballots and subvert the votes of the people in those states. He did pressure state officials to find him votes that did not exist. He did attempt Bill Barr, his attorney general, the United States Attorney General, to claim voter fraud and evidence thereof when 7 institutions had told him there was none. He did try to direct the DOJ to say the election was stolen until half of the DOJ threatened to resign. He did pressure Mike Pence to knowingly accept his fake electors. He did send a mob to the Capitol, a violent mob to the Capitol to aid him in doing this, who went to the Capitol, destroyed it, delayed the peaceful transfer of power, and did millions, hundreds of millions of dollars of damage. These aren't hypotheticals. They're realities. They're factual points in history of the largest coup attempt we've ever seen on the American government. To pretend it's fake and, oh, no chance he tries again is, at best, horrendously naive.
41% of Republicans said it's time for political violence. Republicans openly have been talking about Second Amendment remedies for people that they disagree with. They've been egging on violence. Donald Trump laughed about how Nancy Pelosi's husband was smashed in with a hammer. So the right wing loves violence. And the minute that it touches Donald Trump, you guys go, oh my God, it turns out violence is
tried to kill Trump twice in the last 2 months.
Let me ask Cenk. I thought Clay raised a very good point there about the utter hypocrisy between the Democrat view of January 6th and the Democrat view of the BLM riots. Either you oppose rioting full stop or you don't.
Anyone trying to pretend that Trump and the right's rhetoric isn't single-handedly directly responsible for the uptick in political violence we're seeing now is just a dishonest arbiter or incredibly brainwashed. It's those two. It's a binary, right? Trump has demonized the left since 2016. He's insulted every single one of his political opponents, often criminalizing them and hinting at them wanting to steal and ruin the country. He's mocked violence that happens to the left. He has insinuated the need for it, from saying that the Second Amendment people can take care of Hillary, to mocking Nancy Pelosi's husband, or sharing a picture of a truck with a decal of Biden hogtied in the trunk. If you measure up left-wing violence to right-wing violence, it isn't comparable at all. Right-wingers only pretend to care now because some of it has made its way to Trump. When pipe bombs were sent to Kamala, Obama, and other top Democrats, none of them cared. When Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked to where Nancy Pelosi was the actual target, people to this day joke about it being his gay lover. They will die on that hill. If you speak to MAGA, out of like every 3 MAGA, I bet one or two of them, if not all 3, will say that that is what happened. When Gretchen Whitmer was kidnapped, the right said it was an inside job for PR that she did just to get a photo shoot. But when it's Trump that is targeted, all of a sudden the right cares because they can use that to victimize themselves where they couldn't the others. It's not even about the political violence. They want to insinuate that. They just want to also be able to victimize themselves while doing it. It's incredibly ridiculous. And if we're jumping to BLM versus January 6th, as they also touched on here, the differences are night and day. I mean, first off, many of the arrests weren't from left-wingers. Like, you can look at the data from the convictions. In fact, right-wingers actually made up a large portion of those arrested for actually rioting and doing violent offenses. The majority of the protests tied to BLM were peaceful, where in some instances, of course, bad actors took the opportunity, and guess what? Those people were charged and prosecuted and are sitting in jail, and Democrats aren't calling them patriots and asking for them to be released. In fact, Kyle Rittenhouse literally killed a man at one of these, got off scot-free, but because he's a right-winger, Republicans defend his actions and turned him into a political figure. The problem when we're talking about January 6th and how it's not comparable at all to BLM is it was a direct attack on our democracy. They went to pressure Mike Pence to accept fake electors, to go against the ECA, part of our Constitution, something Republicans are supposed to care about, but they don't even pretend to anymore. They successfully delayed the peaceful transfer of power for the first time in American history, and Trump is now turning around the Republican nominee for president, a candidate, someone who could possibly be president, is turning around and pledging to pardon all of these people. Imagine the Republican response if the Democratic nominee, Kamala Harris, for instance, treated BLM rioters like Trump does January 6 rioters. I mean, Kamala promoted a fund to help with peaceful protesters that were arrested on minor nonviolent offenses that weren't pertained to rioting at all. And the right is like, oh, look, she loves criminals. But of course, they will never hold the same standard for their convicted felon who makes romantic call outs to the other now convicted felons.